Hello, viewer. Hello, people. Hello, party people. We are starting soon. Very, very soon. I just have to do some email business and then we're logging in. We're going to be continuing our dear adventures. Just check some stuff out. Okay. Should be good. My God, something is going on with Discord. Okay, should be good. Should be good. Hello. Now I've getting into this shit, getting into the game. So I've checked out enchanting online on Wowhead, so that we can make a wanted rank 10 enchanting, which is a bit far off. I don't think we can buy the mats necessarily, or get the mats soon enough. So maybe no wand for a bit. Maybe we'll get a wand here and there. Maybe with some quests. Maybe you get a wand with some quests. We'll see. But yeah, we stopped here. We got some questing to do. We got Murlocs to kill, cave to explore, princess to kill, shit like that. We got plenty of healing potions. We got our heartstone. And yeah, we aren't afraid of anything. So alrighty, so I guess Murlocs first, right? Lord Roberts. Is he here to be buffed by a priest quest or something? Who knows? I vaguely remember something, but really no idea. Oh shit, we got corruption, we got fear. Curse of agony. Got curse of agony. These guys hit a bit harder. No, don't. Shift, left click. Okay. I'm sure I look very unhappy playing this game. We shall listen to something because our dear one viewer is only I had cannibalism, huh? I could eat some murloc flesh. Some murloc flesh. It's a lot of murlocs. This is really nice. So dog dies by the time he gets out of fear. So that's amazing actually. That means that's free experience we can basically farm. And the dog, see, he gets feared and now he runs to us and loses the other half of its HP. There we go. Got a silver leaf over here somewhere, guarded by all these murlocs. We ain't gonna do that. No sir. We are gonna kill some dogs. If I play a movie, is that copyrighted or? Probably, but who the fuck will report me, right? Maybe the big brain play was to get skinning so I can have some money. Ah, we don't need money for the mount, at least. It's free. Come on. Come on now. Let's listen to some NFT shit, huh?
You can't make this stuff up. I've said before that bad news for NFTs is the best kind of news. I'm just so sick of the NFT landscape, what they've enabled, the scams, the schemes, the crimes, the theft. And this latest story is just, I mean, mwah, chef's kiss as far as highlighting the folly of engaging with this wild, wild west of a scene. This story concerns Seth Green, yes, the actor. Gamers in particular might know him as the voice of Joker in the Mass Effect series, and he has been pursuing this endeavor of taking Bored Ape Yacht Club and turning that into a show, and that has been hampered by the fact that Seth Green fell for a phishing scam that has led to his NFTs getting stolen, the NFTs that are required to actually have the rights
I'll do that
to
at low 10.
the show. I'm not kidding, this is real, and let's dive right into it. So it all began with this tweet by Seth Green on May 17th, 2022, which reads, "Well, friends, it happened to me. Got fished and had 4 NFTs stolen. Bored Ape Yacht Club, OpenSea, Doodles, Yuga Labs, please don't buy or trade these while I work to resolve. Darkwing84, looks like you bought my stolen ape. Hit me up so we can fix it." And you can see right here the images of the NFTs that got stolen, among them being Bored Ape Yacht Club stuff that Seth Green was planning to base the show on. Scrolling down through the responses, you can see that there is very little sympathy for this man who, you know, should have known what he's gotten into in this completely unregulated scene where scams, schemes, cons, theft, and all that jazz, crimes, all that stuff's just rampant, and promoting this scene and actively partaking in it, it's just morally questionable, and there's a question of what did you expect would happen? And so people have been posting things like, "Seth, I have information that will lead to Darkwing 84's capture and conviction." I don't know if this guy was joking and being sarcastic or being for real, but Seth Green seems to have thought this was for real and seems desperate enough to be like, "Please DM me anything that could lead to his capture, to his conviction," whatever he thinks
Oh man,
will all ultimately lead to. People poking fun with memes like "Ape's gone" with this face right here. Scrolling further down, some of the most liked tweets include, Seth, if it makes you feel any better, this is very funny and was completely predictable. And then one more down here that just says, Seth, please take down these pictures. You don't own them anymore. Ownership being a big emphasis of NFTs, the fact that they're non-fungible.
That's really funny.
They're quite fungible, I'm afraid. This was all then followed up by
That's really fucking funny.
More Butter TV, who tweeted, Seth Green's Bored Ape NFT, which was set to star in its own animated show, was stolen through a phishing scam. Green no longer owns the commercial rights to the NFT, and thus the show cannot move forward, and people are loving this. You can see how viral this tweet went, already almost 83,000 likes. And plenty of cheeky responses pretty much celebrating this or poking fun at this have gone viral as well. Charlie W, for example, tweeted this meme, you're laughing. Peep MILF Hunter 69 lost his $200,000 life savings on his booby butt 420 Farcoin investment, and you're laughing. Honestly, this doesn't sound any less ridiculous than this whole Seth Green situation or any of the myriad thefts and heists that were successfully carried out by hackers and thieves. Here's another tweet that garnered quite a number of likes. Oh, I'm afraid these tokens will be quite fungible when your friends arrive. Here's one more for good measure. Here we have Spider-Man, the guy who stole Mona Lisa in 1911. Here we have Green Goblin, me stealing Seth Green's ape JPEG. You and I are not so different. Now, Seth Green is insisting that he hasn't lost the rights to produce this NFT show. He tweeted, not true about me not owning the commercial rights since the art was stolen. A buyer who purchased stolen art with real money and refuses to return it is not legally entitled to exploitation usage of the underlying IP. It'll go to court, but I'd prefer to meet Darkwing84 before that. Seems we'd have lots in common. If by that I mean suckers, and yeah, you two are practically twins. Here we also have a tweet where Seth Green gives a bit more context for how this phishing scam was carried out. Scam Guttercat's clone site. I'm crazy careful with separate wallets and security, but still got. Luckily, it's art, not crypto, so they can be traced. For anyone that bought them, we can work something out. And he eventually discovered the name, the user who bought the NFT off of the phishing scammers was in fact Darkwing84. Now he's just trying to plead with Darkwing84 to please sell this back to me, give it back to me somehow. Let's work something out. He seems to, on some level, know that this is going to cause trouble for his ability to have commercial rights to produce this show. He wouldn't seem this desperate otherwise. As for how people have responded to Seth Green insisting that, no, I still own the commercial rights because the art was stolen, well, you've got people like Bob here posting this rather famous meme. This is Jeff Steitzer, for those who don't know, the announcer voice of Halo Multiplayer. He can be seen here saying,
Bored Ape Stolen,
which has garnered already over 11,000 upvotes. You've got people just sarcastically pointing out the harsh reality of this situation. Crypto Nerd, unregulated blockchain currency is the best. Give me all the coins and tokens without the burden of government regulation. Also Crypto Nerd, according to US laws and regulations, the token is mine. I'm the rightful owner regardless of what the blockchain says. As Chief Palpatine once said, you've got this Business Insider journalist, Thomas Maxwell, poking fun by saying, my man, the blockchain doesn't lie. If it says Darkwing owns the ape, they own it. And then we got folks just offering the harsh truth, like Andres Guadamus here, who tweeted, the art was not stolen because the NFT is not the art. The NFT is some metadata with a link to some art, not the art itself. You didn't buy any IP. At best, you got a license to use someone's art, and the license is dependent on the possession of a token. Here we have another user who speculated, but he didn't steal your art. He stole a receipt that points to a link where the art is. Surely you knew what you were out buying at the time, no? And then he added on top of that, oops, spoke too soon. Bored Yacht Club NFTs come with copyright, so yeah, looks like Green did lose the IP instead of not really having it, which is way funnier. There's actually a section in Bored Yacht Club's official website that details ownership of these NFTs, and here's a section on commercial use. Subject to your continued compliance with these terms, Yuga Labs LLC grants you an unlimited worldwide license to use, copy, and display the purchased art for the purpose of creating derivative works based upon the art, commercial use. Their policy is whoever purchased the NFT art has the right to use it commercially however they want. And in the case of Seth Green, sure, he got scammed out of his NFT, but that NFT eventually got bought by Darkwing84, so now he can use it commercially however he wants, as the blockchain shows that he is currently the owner of the NFT art that the show is supposed to be based off of. The NFT art that Seth Green no longer quote unquote owns and therefore can't use it commercially, as it's not his blockchain, not his NFT, his receipt anymore. Now here we have news outlet BuzzFeed News reporting on this with a headline that reads, "Someone stole Seth Green's Bored Ape, which was supposed to star in his new show. The actor has been pleading on Twitter with Darkwing84, who bought his ape from a scammer, to return it." In this article, they actually spoke to some lawyers who have chimed in on this situation. And while the legal boundaries of NFTs are yet to be solidified because this is such an unregulated landscape, it doesn't sound like things are looking particularly good for Seth Green. It's definitely going to be a complication. On May 8th, an anonymous scammer swiped 4 of Green's NFTs in a phishing scheme. Green mourned his stolen assets on Twitter, where he announced the losses of a Bored Ape, 2 mutant apes, and a doodle, which were transferred out of Green's wallet after he
these kobolds immune to fear, man.
site. One of the mutant apes was flipped for $42,000, Motherboard reported. Transaction ledgers show the Bored Ape was also sold by the scammer to a pseudonymous collector known as Darkwing84, who purchased it for more than $200,000. Yeah, with that much money at stake, I don't think he's keen on just like giving it back, unless Seth Green has quite a bit of money to pour his way to buy this from the NFT owner. The article continues, the NFT was then swiftly transferred to a collection called GBE Vault, which is where it currently sits, and there really doesn't seem much in the way of recourse to get this back. Again, this is just such an unregulated landscape that, you know, what are you going to do? And once a scammer manages to sell that NFT, getting that NFT back becomes a much more complicated matter. It's kind of
it becomes impossible.
Really put back in the bottle, from what I understand. And as far as how lawyers have interpreted the situation, here we have a tax and litigation attorney at Alston and Bird LLP, Daniel Dubbin, who said this: if the current owner wanted to cause trouble for Seth Green, they probably could, because that person becomes the holder of the commercial usage rights. Now, if the buyer knew they were buying something that was stolen, then potentially there's some legal recourse, but if that's not the case, then it's going to be a complicated matter. Here's what Eric Goldman, an intellectual property and technology law professor at Santa Clara University, said: bona fide purchasers are legally protected if they buy an item not knowing that it's a hot item. There will be a lot of questions about whether they're buying a stolen NFT and not doing their homework. And then tax and litigation attorney Daniel Dubbin added this: because NFTs aren't physical goods, it's interesting to imagine the different ways that IP rights can be affected and the interesting new IP issues that can arise from the fact. I think we're just scratching the surface. How the law develops over time to actually encompass NFTs will be interesting to see, though my hope is that NFTs will crash and burn and vanish from existence, so long as the intentions behind them continue to remain greedy, continue to essentially be about these pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes. It's hard to sympathize with the NFT bros and the people trying to promote this crap when they are actively trying to get people to participate in a landscape that is rife with all these awful things. So far, no beneficial justification has been
So what are we doing? What are we gonna do? Huh, boys? Got a pinned chat. Who cares? Pinned fucking chat. I just love spamming fear, man. That's the best thing in life. Spamming fear. Don't go deeper. No. Oh no. This might backfire spectacularly. Spamming fear, right? Ooh. In the nick of time. What are we going to see? Listen to? Yep, okay, we scouted. That's fine. Let's get the fuck out. I don't like caves. I do not like caves. I would like another bag. Terrorsburg. Who the fuck is Terrorsburg? Damn. That's a lot of herb.
Guys just go look in the eyes and then the others at one go.
Porcelain. Porcelain has good documentaries, man.
It is what it is. He's gonna do a stupid video. His audience will fucking see it. Some of his audience will go, yeah, fuck Mersh! And the other half are gonna go, I don't know who this loser is. People are gonna watch it. He's gonna call me gay on the internet. I'm gonna go back to my show calling people gay on the internet. Nobody's lives are really gonna change after this. From day one, I've always been like, look, watch Porcelain's videos. They're hilarious. Like, he's done great work on a lot of these dudes. But he's also a fucking dick. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much the explanation of it. Let's say I melt the fuck down on the internet, right?
This is a tough spot to be in. Look at this. Surrounded by wolves.
He'll put up some numbers with it.
Ooh, maybe
But my
this wasn't a
prediction
good idea.
right now,
Maybe the fear ain't the good idea. Ah, it's fine. We're doing fine.
is that, and it's also me admitting that I'm a nobody. This will be like the least watched Porcelain video of all time. You know Chris Chan fucked his mom, right? You gonna do anything about that, or you just letting that one slide? Are we gonna do something that actually draws new viewers? Because you're not gonna get caught up in some kind of Mersh algorithm that's gonna fly you to fame.
Be careful what you wish for, it might just come true. The commonly used idiom, a variation of the Yiddish curse may you get what you wish for, serves as a stark warning of the unintended consequences from a seemingly idealistic outcome. Arguably popularised in modern culture by the classic deal with the devil cinematic trope, the actualisation of our most self-indulgent fantasies can often achieve the exact opposite of its intended conclusion. Michael Sheely, better known by his self-awarded radio moniker Mersh, encapsulates the expression to near perfection. With a story spanning the opposing poles of couch-surfing homelessness to the lucrative financial bounties of e-bigotry, one could assume this as one of your classic rags-to-riches adventures. And as a self-employed entrepreneur boasting a giant-killing empire with YouTube's fattest dissident podcast Revenge of the Sis, it certainly appears that this notorious comedic outlaw had finally hit the big time. But as we traverse the Terrasburg-infested waters of a strabismic grifter, Mersh's current utopian delusion bears all the hallmarks of your quintessential living nightmare. Mersh's tumultuous tale begins with an ill-fated foray into the world of stand-up comedy, and with the sort of outrageously offensive set-boasting references ranging from dead babies and date rapists to the AIDS epidemic, he appeared perfectly primed for a seat at the cellar table. Although the most notable elements to Mersh's career in comedy has to be his eclectic choice of clothing. Having not so carefully crafted his confusing range of tasteless aesthetics, Mersh would seamlessly glide from turning up at Joker's Wild Club dressed as some council estate Anglo chav, to prancing around Carolina Beach dressed head to toe as the word cringe. And when not squeezing his stubby extremities into a pair of fingerless leather gloves or wrapping his amorphous torso into yet another badly fitting sports coat, you could have found mid-2000s Mersh at the Palm Room wearing what looked like a sleeveless dress shirt over some trashy printed tee. But it was the fedora perched perilously on his receding scalp that would truly stamp a huge Reddit seal of approval on this embarrassing outfit. And with the sort of outdated material packed with pedocentric scraps from Jim Norton's cutting room floor, it's no surprise his fledgling career in comedy failed at the first hurdle.
Do you think?
Anybody here really hammered? Make some noise. Who's drinking irresponsibly tonight? Yeah. You didn't drink as much as I did, fucker. I am hardcore, man. I drink a lot, dude. My liver looks like a dead 2-year-old Dominican kid. I'm not kidding you.
How is it that somebody who's already waddling around because they look a bit pudgy is wearing pants that seem to be 3 sizes too big? It's almost at thigh level. It looks like he's wearing diapers. Like if you go to thigh level, it's like a weird jean version of hammer pants. I'm trying to understand like the mentality. Do you think it was like he's a little subconscious? He thought, oh, okay, I can take away from
Prince
it if I
is
just
fucking
do something
scary,
that's
man.
so oversized.
When they get the
Or
charge,
do you think
no.
that he just needed room to make a boom boom in his big boy pants? But watching him waddle back and forth with these, and it's like, god damn, those are big.
You can choose a ready guy or some celestial voice.
And I've always had bad relationships. Way back, even the girl I lost my virginity to, this really beautiful half black, half Puerto Rican chick. I used to like to joke that I didn't lose my virginity, that she stole it from me. But
More than the fashion of the fedora, what really struck me on that clip is he's doing his stand-up bit in front of the restaurant, and they're talking louder than he is. They're so uninterested in the punchline to his fucking joke that they're just shouting over him. That's got to be so demoralizing. It's like the drunk guy at the party. It doesn't feel like a stand-up routine to me. It's a choice for the patron, right? Do I want to enjoy my fried chicken and my overpriced beer, or do I want to look at this guy who's dressed like a commando up on stage that thinks he's an extra from like fucking Rambo or something with his green beret hat? Tell a joke about Puerto
Special
Ricans. I don't know. I
mobs?
think I'll
Morgan
eat
the
fucking-
Collector.
I'm actually shocked that anyone watches his show. Like, I don't get, like, his jokes just don't land. I don't think his audience even finds him funny. I've never seen, I've watched, Nightwave here and there to like see like, oh, what's he talking about or whatever. No one LOLs in his chat even. So he was not funny in stand-up, but I guess the reason he's doing the live stuff is because you can't hear the bomb.
So this is the
bombing,
Voidwalker
whereas
quest.
on stand-up, you do.
With Mersh placed perilously on the outskirts of an industry he was so far struggling to penetrate, his comedic ambitions would not yet be deterred. A performance at 2007's X-Fest Music Festival would see what could only be described as a badly dressed J.C. Denton cosplayer record his greatest comedic achievement to date, distracting a crowd of pissed-off adolescents from the onstage set assembly behind him.
I went through hell, man. I actually got drunk last night, blacked out in the show. My car broke down in a Jack Shack. No joke, man. It was really, I actually had to end up beating a hooker to death with a tennis shoe just to steal her car and get to fucking X-Fest tonight. So it was a lot of work.
So basically, the owner of this gig was like, listen, we just need to drown out the sound of construction in the background. They don't have to be funny. We just need them to talk. He could claim that I've got, what is it? So X-Fest Music Festival, 5,000 people, 10,000 people that are forced to listen to me losing my virginity to a black girl who stole it. Get it? That's a punchline.
But with this career highlight once again meandering into the same sea of
Damn, bag's already full. Bag's already full.
A bright light would start flashing.
And we just got here.
Dome. With a long line of East Coast comedians owing their success to XM Radio's Opie and Anthony, Mersh would redirect his efforts towards working all angles in appearing on the show. He would look towards O&A's infamous roster of brain-damaged jesters and bottom-feeding stunt boys, before finally honing in on fan favourite Daniel Bobo Curlin. And having agreed to ferry Bobo to and from the studio completely free of charge in some frantic grab at Kumia's vampiric coattails, Mersh would take his place as the O&A's resident retard's resident retard.
So you're going all the way to a frat house in Buffalo to do a gig
$100
for $100, but you have to get yourself there.
I'm being driven there by a friend of mine who's also a friend of Heather Heights. His name is Mersh.
Yeah.
Mersh.
Thank you, you've all been a great audience. And now, let me introduce you to my next comedian. He's also a lovable fuck-up. Give it up for Long Island, Mersh! Just a heads up, I'm not going up yet, so that was... While I appreciate the effort, Bobo, Heather's gonna bring your next comic up.
Mersh did an amazing job. I'm shocked this guy hasn't had his own Comedy Central special yet. Somebody needs to call Comedy Central, get this guy, tell them about this guy named Mersh. He should have his own special.
Terry Bozzio used to do that. I remember seeing like a Jimi Hendrix tribute where
Mersh should have his own special. As a matter of fact, he should be headlining in Caroline's, and maybe someone should tell Vinny Brand about him, because he should also be headlining at the Stress Factory.
I think that speaks to the desperation, doesn't it? Like, it's not just that bitterness that's caked in there, but like a real fucking desperation to try to do anything to get noticed. I don't know how being the chauffeur for a retard is gonna, like, how did he envision that playing out? Like, they were gonna go, oh my God, what a beautiful Mercury. Please come on stage. Please come up into the studio so we can hear about your fucking car home.
His name is Bobo, and he's retarded. And you're the retarded guy that people shit on, chauffeur. Like even if his stand-up was fucking pristine, 10 out of 10, they still wouldn't respect them.
With a stand-up career in such a sad state that even the gift of featuring for Doug Stanhope barely moves the needle, Mersh would make some necessary arrangements to facilitate a full-time return to comedy. By December 2011, the nomadic gagster was back in New York, ready to work the stage and ready to hurt your feelings. And having followed his first recorded effort to minister sobriety with a 1-hour comedy album in Killjoy, he was fully prepared to take the comedy circuit by storm. Such was his
hey guys, when are we gonna get some gear?
Posting his own motivational pep talks.
When does it happen?
With one in particular stating how, I've realised lately how much I've lost in the last few years, and I'm taking it all back. All of it. I've got raw natural fucking talent and have lacked ambition up to this point for whatever reason, be it fear, depression, or just a desire to have an excuse to be a failure. That changes now. And if anyone gets in my way this time, I will cut your fucking throat. After just over a year back on the jocular saddle, a tidal wave of unearned confidence would sweep clear above his 5'7" frame, with Mersh at this point for some bizarre reason actively gatekeeping the comedic profession. He would arrogantly post a response to an innocuous Tumblr meme asking why the hell aren't we all comedians, by listing 4 ways in which he is more unique, talented, original, and ultimately funnier than most people.
That's cringe.
In the ensuing months after posting this comment, Mersh would give up on stand-up comedy altogether.
Stand-up comedy is a dead art form, and he attempted resuscitating the dead art form by blowing the lung air of Jim Norton into it. And I don't know if you know this, but stand-up comedy already has a Jim Norton, so it probably did not need a second one.
He's just not funny. He's just absolutely... I watched a few of his stand-up specials, and they're just miserable. They're absolutely miserable.
The personal affairs of Mike Sheely very much reflected the dire condition of his professional endeavours, with his life in a continuous state of homeless flux. He would play out the last of his golden years sleeping in the back of his Mercury Grand Marquis, claiming on an Opie and Anthony message board that you can't ask for a better homeless car. On the rare occasion he could meet the insurmountable economic burden of a cell phone plan, usually having harvested the pity of charitable well-wishers, Mersh could be found posting his financial hardships to his social media feed.
I never thought I needed a before. I thought I could get by myself. No, I know I just can't take it anymore. And with a humble heart on bended knee,
Oh my god.
I'm begging you, please.
Oh my god, golly gee gosh, guys. Digging in a dumpster again. Posted on Facebook, though. Hey guys, I'm homeless. I'm on a fucking whack bag. Hey guys, I'm home. Did you know that I'm homeless? I need to tell you for the 400th time. By the way, here's a PayPal link, you know, completely unrelated. Just such sympathy whoring. Fuck off.
In one post, he would comment, "Just another fucking week of being homeless," whilst another posed the question, "What do you do when you are broke and jobless?" And when not attempting to shoehorn what remained of his comedic prowess into another night of free weed, he'd spiral deeper into a whirlpool of nihilistic self-importance, even going as far as to entertain the occasional suicidal gesture in this hapless quest for positive validation. In one post, he'd discuss how he understands suicide in a totally non-emo way, before asking readers not to make it all about you should he leave this mortal coil. In another post, he'd warn his readership to never have dreams they don't come true. Never set goals ain't gonna happen.
Listen, you should just give up now, or you'll be living in a Mercury, not a dumpsters. All right, thanks for the fucking pep talk. So tragic, I might shoot myself. By the way, donate here.
Whilst another lamented his official lack of employment before what appeared to be a blatant case of suicide begging, with his comment, "Trying not to kill myself, send booze," preceded by an actual PayPal link. And with a feed infected with your typical infantile self-destruction one might expect from Alkaline Trio, Mersh would be left channeling the social media activity of a teenage scene girl.
You know what I really like? Is 18 people gave an emoji rating to him talking about killing himself, but only one to the post about giving him money. Did everybody, even the people who know him, shit on him? Are those sarcastic, sad face emojis in response to him?
From what I've heard, what I understand is a lot of these top-level guys, they all struggle too. A lot of them are high school dropouts, didn't go to college, you know, they didn't have rich parents or anything. Mersh didn't have any parents. So imagine how wealthy he's going to be in the future, considering the amount of struggle he's gone through. It's honestly, it's inspiring.
Your boy Mersh has had a very hard life, and I've got some really fucked up stories. I'm just gonna say it again. Your homie Mersh is a little bit broke right now. And it's actually been like, oh cool, Jeff O'Mara's in the chat. He's a potato N-word like myself. Maybe he can understand what I'm going through. But I really haven't had a drink in like over a week. And everything's all fucked. So, you know, like I said, paypal.me/Mersh comedy. Hook 'em motherfucker up, you know what I mean? I don't know. And you want to just hook me up personally, I got paypal.me/Mersh comedy. That's always cool. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna shill again my personal PayPal, paypal.me/Mersh comedy. If you want to help us out, help me out, you know, maybe kick in a couple bucks since I'm being a goddamn burden here.
Life for Mersh would continue descending further into disrepair, with his latest self-imposed cock-up resulting in a DUI and a subsequent forfeiture of his driver's license. No longer able to ferry around the handy-capable leftovers of Shock Jock Radio, he would instead be forced to wait until December 2012 to recommence his long-overdue rebuilding process. With his license now returned, the wall-eyed vagrant would direct his efforts towards the purchasing of his next motorized abode. But as a 29-year-old NEET with the employability of a child-grooming smackhead, Mersch would need a little help.
So really when he's saying I got my license back, he means I got the keys to my house back, basically. I have a fucking bedroom to sleep in again.
An audacious fundraising effort seeking $1,200 would be set up using popular web begging platform GoFundMe, with reward tiers promising such things as Twitter plugs, ad reads, and even an interview with the Duke of Douchebaggery himself. It didn't take long for the first wave of sympathy donos to trickle in. His GoFundMe description was practically drenched in the sort of shameless desperation of a bus stop junkie, and with a pitiful sob story blaming his never-ending series of monumental fuck-ups on the lack of an effective support system, it's a little hard to sympathise. He would claim how he never quite recovered from his financial and personal issues, before pledging to break the cycle of dysfunction, bad decisions, and bad luck. And having allegedly quit smoking and paid off all his parking fines, congratulations, Mersch would offer you his sealed guarantee that there will be no more excuses and no more whining. And despite his entire gambit reliant on the unrequited charity of gullible fools, he would cover his bases regardless, with a specific request of prospective contributors stating no bashing, no shitty opinions, and no trolling.
So 3 whole weeks, nothing but Facebook posts saying buy me a car. Hey guys, I'm gonna be so responsible. Listen, my life's gonna turn around once you buy me this $1,200 car. Oops, crashed into a wall after getting fucking drunk. I'm just a fuck up, aren't I?
Take a fucking cab, bro. What are you doing? How does he do this? I don't even know if I should blame him or blame the people giving him the money.
Well, I think he realized at a certain point that he has to at least.
Ooh, this is bad. This is good. This is getting
charity, and that's when the grift came in.
This sudden desire to extend his tyrannosaurial arms, grab life by the horns, and finally take some responsibility. Despite dedicating large parts of his GoFundMe description alleviating himself of the blame,
Oh, this is getting interesting.
Be undermined by his own seemingly boundless stupidity. After just 1 year behind the wheel of his newly crowdfunded Beggarmobile, Mersch would involve himself in yet another intoxicated fender bender, and with it yet another arrest for driving under the influence. With a car he had dedicated a month brazenly scrounging for now damaged beyond repair, and an updated criminal record, Mersch had hit rock bottom. Not only had he betrayed the trust of his benevolent donors, he had completely sabotaged any sign of breaking his aforementioned cycle of dysfunction. But the true extent of his bold-faced effrontery would soon reveal itself, with Mersch setting up a second GoFundMe page titled I Screwed Up, this time seeking over $3,000. A tweet stating that shit keeps getting worse and worse, your help is appreciated, would link the page to the flock of susceptible rubes encircling his Facebook feed. And with a description that simply read, yup, you know what happened, blah blah, it's an undeniable miracle that he was somehow able to raise over $500, double dipping into the pockets of the same exact benefactors that had seen their previous investments seized by Florida Highway Patrol. But by far the most shocking aspect to this entire saga was seeing Mersch use a wristband from the medical unit where he was on actual suicide watch as a fucking donation plug.
Yep, you know what happened, blah blah. Is that really the fucking description he wrote? And why is it 3 times the amount of the first one? You could have one-of-a-kind wristband for the medical unit where I was on suicide watch. Oh God, he has no shame, does he? Thanks for your charity, faggots. Do it again. Give me more money. I'm gonna drive it into a wall.
$10 is life-changing to Mersch. It's nothing to anybody else he knows. So they just throw it to him. You know, you throw a bum $10 and you wouldn't even feel that weird about it.
I don't get why people would donate to that behavior. Because you know it's gonna happen again and again and again. How many cars, how many GoFundMes can someone do until you're like, you know what, I'm not gonna donate to this.
Okay, so let me piece this together. He spends 3 fucking weeks spamming anybody who happens to even look his way, begging for a car that he wants to live out of, because that's his fucking house. He gets shit-faced drunk from all the profit he made selling coke to gay dudes he's giving hand jobs to because he's a rent boy. And then he just drives it right, probably to a comedy club that rejected him. And then goes back to them, hey guys, turtle fuck up here wouldn't want me to kill myself. I need another car.
You want to grift some people? There's some retard conservatives out there sitting there like lap dogs, just waiting for you to throw a I was going to say bone, but you know what I mean. They were dying. They're ready to lap it up. And I think at that point, Mersh really found his true calling, which has always been panhandling.
It was around this time that Mersh's living situation entered a period of relative
this is bad,
with
this
Royce
is bad,
Lopez,
come on,
a
come on.
Captain Pugwashian Cuban man he had met on a cringe humor message board, inviting Mersh to stay indefinitely at his Floridian home. And with Royce's partner Marie now faced with the reality of sharing her dwelling with some deadbeat drifter with a history of alcohol abuse, it would take a great deal of buttering up to finally get her on
Think we're
side.
dead.
Eventually, the three would combine their meager talents in putting together a podcast for the More Like Radio
We ain't dead yet.
titled The Fifth Circle, a likely reference to Royce and Marie's rather morbid but completely genuine fascination with ritualistic devil worship. I wish I was joking.
Wait, because earlier, Evan, and I will isolate this to prove my point, you said you didn't have any shots. Now we're up to 2. Evan, which one is it?
Better get your.
I'm just saying.
Better get your story straight.
Now you got 2 different stories circulating the internet.
It's gonna escalate to okay. I had 7 Heinekens.
It'll sound like one of my nights. All right, look, I had like 18 shots and 15 beers.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. You're not circumcised, right, Ernie?
Yes, I am actually.
Bullshit! You're not Cuban. Hang up.
Good.
Hang up. Get out. Get this
Next
fucker out of here.
Yeah, next thing you're gonna tell me you wear socks.
Oh, now you wear socks with your fucking loafers.
Oh, we got a bag.
Way to go for socks. Yeah, man. It's so hard to wear socks with sandals, you know what I mean? Or barefoot.
Nah, forget it. Forget it. Cuban. Fucking poser. I don't want to talk to him.
Royce will take what he can get. When he's been pretending to be big-time radio man, he's wearing his big boy radio pants every day, and he's telling his wife, one day I'll make it, I swear.
Kinda?
Yeah, he's
Hello?
going to take anybody, like, Mersh is coming in lying, going, like, I used to work with Opie and Anthony. That must sound so exciting to Royce. He probably still thinks about that.
In December 2011, Mersh had somehow landed himself an exciting opportunity, working the door at a local Tampa strip club, swiftly becoming general manager due largely to the dire economic and operational mess left by his predecessor. He was now in receipt of a modest but regular paycheck, and it didn't take long for Mersh to start flexing that monetary muscle. His sudden change in attire would reflect his brand new sleaze aesthetic, with an ostentatious gold watch and a snazzy dress suit, a real hit amongst his beat-up roster of $2 pole-grinding whores. But after just 2 years of full-time employment, he would be unceremoniously fired by the owner of Gold Club Tampa, Mike Tomkovich. With his newly acquired financial lifeline now severed, a panic-stricken Mersh would go on the legal offensive, alleging that his firing was in fact a race-related whistleblower case due to his opposition of Tomkovich's discrimination against black employees. Mersh would claim that he was instructed to thin the herd of non-white dancers, adding that Tomkovich directed him to charge black entertainers up front to perform, while similarly situated Caucasian employees were not charged until after their performance. Mersh would even suggest that after hearing he had hired a black female to work the door, the club owner remarked, "Fantastic, now I have an N-word door girl." All in all, the frivolity of this lawsuit represented some incredibly tribal behavior indeed.
Just from a realistic perspective, I don't buy any of this. So you're going to tell me the guy who's desperate to make it famous, right? Who is living in his Mercury, is barely scraping by, always begging for PayPal money, has to deal drugs for supplemental income, finally finds a stable position working at a place where he's a fucking manager, and he's going to be like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Basically, I worked for a chain of clubs, strip clubs, and I was the chain manager. I was fired for political reasons. I was fired because I was being asked to do some things that are illegal. And anyone who knows me knows I'm a fucking soldier, dude. I don't have problems doing illegal shit for money. In this case, I was asked at a certain point to treat, basically to thin the herd, so to speak, of my Black and Hispanic employees. The impression that came from my owner at the time was that I had too many working for me, and he didn't want to be that kind of club. So I was asked to, basically partake in certain measures that were discriminatory that would cause these people to not want to be there, to quit, basically force them out the door. And because of my refusal to take part in that, those policies, I was fired.
Having now self-identified as an opportunistic snitch, Mersch would stake everything on the outcome of the Sheely vs. SE Show Club's lawsuit. And with the defendant's motion to dismiss denied by Judge James S. Moody Jr., things were initially looking up for the embittered informant. And with a potential severance package of $637,000 on the table, the prospect of genuine life-changing money would no doubt have sent Mersch into a full-blown ocular tailspin. However, after 3 years of bitter legal wranglings, the case was ultimately thrown out, leaving an exasperated Mike Sheely not only completely penniless, but with a well-deserved reputation as a litigious tattletale. And as for the fundamental question of whether the suddenly altruistic Mersch truly cared for the working conditions of black sex workers, or had simply sought a self-serving opportunity to leverage the alleged discrimination towards ethnic minorities into a hefty personal settlement all for himself, is something we'll never truly know for sure.
This is fucking with my mind. Again, he's ahead of the curve. So he's basically trying to cancel culture for racism. Maybe 5 or 6 years a little too early. Anybody that knows me knows I don't do illegal things. Except the dude that would post on Facebook about selling coke to gay guys. You all know me, Mr. Drive My Car Into the Wall, a drug dealer. When he made me do those mean things against those innocent black girls, that's where I drew the line.
Found out today that my lawsuit was in fact thrown out by a federal judge. We were not given a trial. We were not given any of the things that were promised by these.
Maybe this was a bad idea, rolling two at once, huh?
So yeah, it was no trial, no jury, no nothing. Just a federal judge who, or whatever, for one reason or another, didn't like me. So, needless to say, 4 years, a lot of fighting, and on a win. It's all gone. So, today's probably been one of the worst days I've had in years, finding out this news today. But I am, needless to say, in a bit of a jam right now. You do a whistleblower case like this, and you hope that after 4 years of fighting that you will at least get a chance to say your piece. I was not afforded that opportunity, but as a result, I now have to suffer from the repercussions of being known as somebody who's a whistleblower or a snitch or, or a litigious person.
After 3 long years of watching his hairline gradually disappear behind the vista of his ever-growing scalp, the theoretical nest egg teeming with delusions of expected wealth had finally shattered. And with barely a hint of a reliable income stream on the horizon, it was back to the old drawing board for Mersch as he negotiated his next move. With the formidable weight of paying his own rent and utilities outsourced to his satanic sugar daddy Royce, Mersch was given the luxury to once again try his hand at performative comedy. And following the inception of what appeared to be his very own production company, he would commence work on stitching together a potential homemade TV pilot. Jobber would see Mersch get to live out his ultimate teenage fantasy, playing dress-up on camera as his favourite wrestlers. A 6-minute promotional trailer poorly shot in Royce's living room would advertise itself as a comedic mockumentary based around the misadventures of amateur wrestling. Aside from the substandard production quality across the board, the pilot was seemingly lacking any sort of tangible script, leaving the so-called actors uncomfortably stumbling over one another in a scene not too dissimilar from your local Amdram society. Ultimately, as the centerpiece of his freshly established enterprise Killjoy Productions, this was an embarrassing mess for all involved. And despite Mersch creating yet another failed GoFundMe for this would-be abomination, he would quickly and rather mercifully abandon the project altogether.
Judgment Day.
The end of the world.
Is it really the end of the world, though? It's Judgment Day, right? Doesn't Judgment Day come before? Yeah, Judgment Day's before the end of the world. And well, you know what? It depends on what you believe. Right.
Judgment.
But then, like, when has everyone chosen then to ascend? Oh, no, when does that happen? 144,000 people go on Judgment Day. My point is, people are these marks that are watching it and know the difference.
We got another.
I'm on my phone, so I can't make a little thing at the bottom, but GoFundMe.com/jobber. If you want to see our awesome wrestling project coming up, we need some fucking cash, folks. So, you know, make with the goddamn money faucet already, all right? GoFundMe.com/jobber. If you like wrestling and comedy, this is going to be good. So, and you can, of course, help us raise money to fight the globalist capitalist system by going to GoFundMe.com/jobber before it's too late.
Meanwhile, one of the more unfortunate byproducts of Donald Trump's 2016 election victory saw an unprecedented explosion of online culture warriors, with just about anybody boasting a YouTube following frenetically pivoting their content towards owning those dastardly libs. And with the Fifth Circle drawing the sort of engagement usually reserved for Ben Gleib's political campaigns, it didn't take long for Mersh to purse those lips and start sucking on that dissident heat. Revenge of the Cis, a clever amalgamation of the left's degradation of self-identification and Star Wars, would be Mersh and Royce's sacrificial lamb to the alt-right tempo mayor. And despite the podcast's early struggles, they would go on to attract a small but oddly enthusiastic following. As a show leading a full-scale media insurgency, ROTC would advertise itself as an anti-censorship free speech sanctuary, with the tagline "We're not sorry" underscoring their radical non-conformity. And as a news talk show with plenty of jokes to help you swallow those red pills with ease, the message from your 5'1" giant killing anti-hero is simple: die laughing. It's literally the last middle finger you can ever give to this world.
I'm basically juggling around the idea of leaving this industry and focusing on bringing you guys content pretty much around the clock. Live content, videos, archived stuff, a possible Twitch show, but most importantly, this would be bringing you Revenge of the Cis, which is the program we've been working on daily.
Shit.
The reason I'm doing this video is because, you know, you guys know I post a lot of stuff. I'm pretty out there. I at times can be pretty amusing if I'm not tooting my own horn. And you know, I've done comedy radio. I did it professionally at one point, and I sort of let myself get sidetracked with a lot of bullshit. And part of that reason is because years of doing stand-up and podcasting and hearing people say, well, what do you do at a show? And then never going to shows. It's fucking difficult. We really need your support. If a bunch of neo-Nazis and a bunch of LARPers walking around with sticks and a bunch of Antifa idiot faggots can fucking all make all this money and, you know, off of hate, we hope that you guys will support us as we try to venture into this whole thing with a little bit more love and humor.
No, they're plants that anybody in Antifa that hits somebody is actually put there by the Trump administration to hit people to make Antifa look bad.
Dude, I heard the same thing when that James Alex Field kid hit that fucking crowd of people.
Yeah,
and,
I heard that too.
It was immediately, it's controlled opposition, bro. It's not us. And they're like, really? So you can vouch for the thousands of people there. What, as a nice guy, what am I supposed to do? Tell me. Let us know. There's no way you can't reach us. You know how to reach us, folks. If you're on the left, explain to me. If I can't dress my kid up like an Indian, and now you're gonna get mad because if we get to that's where this alt-right circle comes from. That's where the white nationalists, where these angry kids are coming from. They can't dress up like a Native American. They can't dress up like a Mexican with a sombrero and some pistoleros. They can't do any of that because it's appropriation. Give your kids hormones. There's no big deal. Like, you know, always change back when they're 14.
Maybe that was a bad idea. We'll see. Oh fuck, can you resist it? Okay, let's get the fuck out of here.
As long as you got enough skin in it.
Despite Mersh's pinned proclamation that it's a scary time to be a comedian, streamlabs.com/nightwaveradio, he would refuse to be discouraged. In an attempt to continue dunking on the metropolitan swarms of gun-shy libtards, he would create a parody campaign titled Guns for Tards. For just $7.99, this prank-by-mail service would send a letter on your behalf to any SJW anonymously, thanking them for their $75 donation. The letter would further explain how this donation had been used to arm a mentally challenged person in their neighborhood. And having set up an official Guns for Tards domain, a dedicated PayPal portal and yet another GoFundMe page, hopes of imagined riches would send Mersh's peepers into peak spasm. What had started as a relatively amusing prank was now being incessantly spammed midway through every ROTC episode, in what appeared to be an explicit grab at that precious conservative coin. His persistent avarice would even see him give out discount codes and 2-for-1 specials on what is essentially, given the customer has no idea whether this letter has even been sent, a prank without a payoff. Not even a manufactured censorship war against GoFundMe following their removal of a firearm-related fundraiser from their platform could prevent this palm-rubbing scheme from inevitable disaster. It appeared the only tards in this entire transaction were those who willingly paid $8 for Mersh to post a fucking letter.
Do you like pranks, guns, and jokes about retarded people? Well, so do we, but odds are your liberal snowflake friend doesn't. How would you like an easy, cost-effective way of screwing with that friend anonymously without losing your Twitter account? Guns for Tards is the perfect way to trigger SJW anonymously through the mail. For a low fee, your target will receive a beautifully designed professional mailer from our fictional Guns for Tards charity, containing a thank you letter for their donation.
We have these plans laid out for folks out there to donate money and to help out. As you know, with what happened in Chicago, we can't stand for that to happen again. So hashtag Guns for Tards. Keep it going out there. We have a war with GoFundMe. We do believe that these Zionist Jew bankers took our money. So for those of you folks that did not get refunds, we're going to try to look into that. It's really getting out of control here, folks. Gunsfortards.com. Gunsfortards.com. Defend the rights of these people here to own firearms, folks. It's very serious out there. Fake Alex Jones signing off.
So we're gonna own the libs by mailing them shit about guns? Is that what I'm getting from this? It could have been a funny joke if it was just a Twitter hashtag and probably not 4 tards, make it a little more believable. Just like some, parody, satire, right? With no money aspect, be funny for a day. But like that was his big money maker, huh?
That's all good and well to try to troll, but you don't get to see anyone's reaction.
The joke is about retarded people, but the only audience Mersh had to do the joke to were retarded people.
Okay, so let me get this. So he sets this up knowing nobody's gonna, this is the stupidest fucking thing ever. But then he appeals to people and says, no, you don't understand, it's wildly popular, but we need to expand it to deal with the volume. That's what I need you to donate for. Not buy the product, but expand my ability to sell the product.
Now imagine you're fucking, I don't know, Arnold Nicotina or whoever was around back then. You're one of these retards, Tiara Priest, and you're sitting there and you're going, oh, the joke is about retarded people. And then there's that moment where the quantum leap, the door opens, the mirror's there, you look into it and you realize, wait, I'm retarded?
As a new media enterprise underwritten entirely by the financial goodwill of their viewership, Revenge of the Cis would need to grow exponentially in order to pass this off as an actual career. Fortunately for your new heroes of the Imperium, Nickelodeon's Dan Schneider was at this point nostril deep in preteen feet. And despite opening old fecal wounds for Mersh personally as a child abuse survivor, he was keen to capitalise nonetheless. After linking up with an open secrets Gabe Hoffman, their wall-to-wall Schneider coverage would reap some rather sizable rewards indeed, with regular views in the hundreds of thousands. and as a self-professed independent journalist soliciting right-wing gratuities on the fringes of relevance, engaging with a decorated filmmaker like Hoffman, a man who single-handedly took down Bryan Singer, to expose the epidemic of rampant Hollywood degeneracy was just the leg up Mersch was looking for. But despite dedicating weeks of talk show real estate towards Dan Schneider's affinity for pre-adolescent toes, the kingmakers of the alt-right would continue to ignore them. And with Mike Cernovich having seemingly benefited personally and financially from promulgating the infamous Pizzagate affair, Mersch would concentrate the entirety of his pent-up bitterness towards the convicted domestic abuser.
What I directed him towards is I'm like, look, basically a lot of people at Nickelodeon have been arrested and they were prior or whatever. So I basically gave him all of the names that ended up in his thing, which got like maybe 100,000 views, fine. He wanted to talk about Nickelodeon pedophiles. I tried to tell him where to find it, and like that didn't work well, and I had to just spoon feed all of it to him when it was just easily internet searchable. It was really annoying. I did that for him. You know, he barely credited me, whatever, I didn't care.
Yeah, finally got Gabe Hoffman on. This is
Thanks
awesome.
for calling in, bud.
I've been a fan of yours, obviously, since an open secret, but also when I saw you on InfoWars with Alex, and we were just watching.
We were just watching
a hilarious clip of.
So I think more people are starting to kind of realize what's going on. I think we've got a lot of attention on this, and that's what I was touching on. So as a result of that, you know, you got guys like Gabe Hoffman on InfoWars saying, Google Dan Schneider and feet. Well, if you Google Dan Schneider and feet, Royce and I were pretty much the first show to really approach this topic.
He saw me on InfoWars. He saw my film making, you know, headlines around the world on Drudge Report and other places, and being on TV all around the world. And, you know, hit me up a DM, gave me a sob story about how they were poor and just starting out, and, you know, could I please come on their, you know, podcast, which had like maybe 1,000 people at the time subscribing or whatever. And I did. And then when he asked me to keep him up on Hollywood child sex abuse stuff, I did. He asked me for info about the Dan Schneider stuff, and I gave it to him with all the Nickelodeon pedophiles, and he used that, and, you know, he got his first video that maybe 100,000 views happened or something.
But fucking listen, we sent enough of this shit, it got retweeted enough, people are talking about it, so fucking, I wanna know why the fuck Mike Cernovich doesn't give a shit about this. What's the matter? Does a fucking guerrilla mindset not apply to protecting children, Mike? Huh? Is it because preteens aren't a target demographic to show your piece of shit book to?
It's such a naive miscalculation. Like Posobiec, Loomer, Cernovich, and all of them, right? Milo, I'd even throw in there, and a couple others. This would have been 2017-ish. Like, that's all, they're all rising because of the mega shit. I'm sure none of them want to start talking about kids getting fucked in Hollywood. It's going to clash with talking about how base Donald Trump is. Oh, by the way, let's talk about kids getting ass fucked. It's a little bit off topic for what they're trying to sell.
You know, and you can look at any of his articles from like that time frame on his website. I mean, he would fail a 6th grade writing class. Like, they're literally all just run-on sentences. It's almost impossible to read. And so he wasn't doing anything that was either original or good. A lot of other people were doing it, but in his own brain, he thought it was original, and he thought that it deserved to be promoted by all of these people like Loomer, Cernovich, Posobiec, and then when they wouldn't, he decided he would hate those people. But of course, if they had actually ever promoted his stuff, he would have loved them.
We're putting work into this show. We're getting frozen out by multiple people. We can't even get a fucking retweet from these so-called peers of ours, okay? Gabe Hoffman from An Open Secret, one of the only guys who has actually followed up, retweeted, make sure his appearance was seen, that he went on our show. The rest of you fucking people, you have no respect. Stop treating us like we're clowns, okay? Because we're only at 2,500 subs now. We are going to blow past you people. Mark my words. And we will not be so fucking kind to you when we do.
Mersch's unbridled hostility towards Cernovich was at such a heightened state that even those who happened to agree with the date rape advocate on unrelated matters were simply dead to him. And despite playing an integral role in ROTC's unmasking of a corpulent podophile, it only took Gabe Hoffman agreeing with Cernovich on Guardians of the Galaxy's James Gunn for Mersch to completely lose his mind. Gabe's suggestion was that given the recent bout of sex abuse scandals plaguing the entertainment industry, In addition to Gunn's best friend, Houston Huddleston, pleading guilty to child porn possession, the prudent approach for the studio was to suspend the director until more was known. After all, this was a man who had not only tweeted such things as, "I like it when little boys touch me in my silly place," and "I fuck the shit out of the little pussy boy next to me," but had even hosted a paedophile-themed event with self-admitted child abuser James Uringa in attendance. Mersh's response was to stream a tirade of deranged abuse directed towards Gabe, attacking his supposed tribal alignment to an insidious, parasitic, disingenuous, rootless and international cabal of people who have very terrible tendencies. And having instructed his recently obtained Wignat following to spam Gabe's Twitter responses with a bombardment of inflammatory Fed posts, it didn't take long for the inevitable ban hammer to strike.
When the James Gunn thing came along, that's just what I did. I just said, hey, this is what's happening. I never called for Gunn to be, like, permanently, like, career-ended, canceled. I just said, like, hey, he's got a lot of these tweets. He's a Disney director in charge of films where there are minors working. And by the way, a bunch of these tweets people are looking at that are about child sex, they're going to Houston Huddleston, his, like, best friend, who actually had just gotten jailed for child porn. So I'm like, look, Disney, you need to fire him now. You know, I didn't call him a pedophile or anything, or say he was guilty, but I'm like, you know, there's a lot of smoke here, and you really ought to investigate. Take 6 months, see what happens. And actually, that's exactly what Disney did. They fired him, and then they investigated, and, you know, then they rehired him, and everything was fine.
So in a weird way, Mersh is defending the person being accused of being a pedophile. He's defending James Gunn. If Mike Cernovich was fighting with Dan Schneider, would Mersh suddenly be defending Dan Schneider?
He didn't like who else agreed with me. Because I didn't really side with Cernovich or anything. It was just Cernovich had a point of view, I had a point of view, Sobek had a point of view. Our points of view were pretty much aligned, and Mersh didn't share that point of view, which was like, fine, whatever.
If you're not familiar, which you should be, James Gunn was fired from the Walt Disney Company 2 days ago, after old tweets from his Twitter account started resurfacing where he was talking about touching little boys and making all these...
Okay, enough. Enough of the bad documentary. This one weren't so good. The Jim Norton one was real good, and the Anthony Cumia one was good. This one not so good. I don't know. Didn't kind of sit well with me. Give it a shot. Took an hour almost. It was a bit of a shitty stream for the time being, but now we're back, I guess. We did a lot of stuff in WoW in the meanwhile. Got to level 10 pretty easy. It only took an hour. We're gonna finish up these quests, then run all the way here, do this and all of these, and then hopefully hard back here. Maybe I should take a bitty break now, so we have our Hearthstone a bit later. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do, man. Itty bitty break. Okay, guys? Okay. I'm gonna mute myself.